Good people, good people, good people. We are now 5 weeks deep. You're ready to talk about week 6 of the NFL season. It was just preseason. But you know what? It's still a good time. Now, all of us didn't have a good time this week. But spit happens. When it does, you just have to swallow. But pause on that too. But games happen. Some teams won, some teams lost. So that's going to have a little bit of an effect on power rankings, which we're going to talk about. And, of course, we're going to preview all the shows for week 6 in the division, all the games. I say the shows games. Y'all know what it is. So it's your boy, Cool McCain. With me on this side, my man, Scrub Zero, repping them Giants. Y'all can't talk about he got Saquon stuff and you're a fake Eagles fan now. You know what I'm saying? There's straight Giants. So y'all can leave that man alone with that. And over here, my cousin from another auntie, Couch Coach. What's going on, fellas?
What's going on?
Man, you know, I missed a week. I'm back. I'm off the injury report. Let's go.
I'm just trying to be easy like Sunday morning. Or like my man Stu Scott would say, cool in the other side of the pillow. That's all. But you know, it's hard to be like that when your team go out there and do some things that happened to the Eagles last week. We're going to get to that. But before we get there, I'm sure there was a couple of other games that on the schedule on NFL.com. This is not me going off of NFL.com, y'all. The first divisional game that we're going to discuss is one that Scrubs is not going to be probably too pleased about. The 1-4 Giants and Scrub, of course, missed the week they won. Of course, that's the week he will see. Because that's how the universe try to do you. It's just wrong. But the 1-4 Giants with a 14-26 loss in the Superdome in New Orleans to the Saints. Scrub, I think these things just let you go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. Talk to us about Giants Saints game.
I want people to understand one thing. Giants go down to that Superdome. Something wild always goes on down there with them. And they've won a lot more games. They've lost a lot more games than they've won. I think the most notable game being that 52-49 game with Drew Brees and Eli Manning. But, you know, Giants get an early lead. I think 14-3. And then, you know, some missed throws. He missed, the rookie Mr. Flea Flicker underthrew it, was late. Yeah. I know Slayton could have came back on it, but I don't expect that from Slayton because Slayton ain't never been that kind of guy. I'm done expecting things from players who ain't showed that prior. So I knew what Slayton was. Your quarterback got to be better. Then the fumble started happening because after the Saints got the big play the other way because Dane Melton has no speed whatsoever. And they got back into it 10-14. Just fumbles. I'm like both rookies fumbled, Scatterboo and Dart. Dart ain't no one touched him. Dropped the ball. I can't do nothing with that. Slayton
did it right now.
Yep. Then Slayton, you know, this is why I didn't want him back in the Giants because I'm like, I know how this story gonna go. Yeah, we've maxed out on him. He's maxed out on us. We maxed out on him. Why is he still on this team? I don't know. But they decided to hold on to him. What happens? Fumble. And he got hurt during the game. So ain't that fun? And then third quarter, Scatterboo fumbles. That gets returned for a touchdown. That pushed the lead to 26-14. That was game over. I mean, and then Dart had 2 more picks, had 2 more turnovers. Those were picks. Those came later. They trying to make something happen. Listen, I'm not surprised the Giants lost. I'm not surprised the craziness happened in New Orleans once again. But I'm tired of this team being an embarrassment to the game of football. This is what I got to talk about every dang all week with this goofy team and these silly players making unnecessary mistakes. So, yeah, that's more or less what went down.
Feel like you're holding back, man.
Yeah, because I use some stronger language, but we a little more fair over here, so I'm gonna leave.
I see, man. Kudos, sir. Kudos.
Yes.
Kudos on that for sure. All right, Coach, you have any thoughts on the Giants game?
I mean, yeah, I think, like you said, a lot of missed opportunities. This was kind of, when you look at it, the grand scheme of things in the schedule, that this could have been a situation that they could have won this game. Obviously, coming off the heels of that Chargers win, but it's just couldn't get it done. And I think that's another thing too, where I think this will be kind of one of those losses that you'll sit back and be like, damn, we really could have had this opportunity to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. I really felt like that they were going to be able to handle the Saints, because I look at the Saints and I look at that's, to me, probably the worst team in the league with Spencer Rattler as their quarterback. The issues at wide receiver, Kamara's older. You know, I'm like, this team, they're able to beat anybody, but they're more than likely to lose just because of the constitution of the team. But to Scrub's point, he says the team is goofy. He says you don't trust them, and you know they're not doing anything to make him look stupid. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So, this is one of the losses I think that they really look at the Giants and say, "This is some bullspit. This is a game we should have won." Like, you know, you have games you lose, you're like, you know, okay, right, here's what it is. And you have games that you lose that you be like, really? This is one of those, really. But you got a rookie quarterback, rookie running back, right? So you got some guys that still are going to make rookie mistakes. Second start for Dart, you know, Scatterboo still, you know, in the first handful of games being played in. So it's tough to gauge this team right now. But if I'm Scrub, I understand why he feels the way he feels, because in his mind it's like, yo, doesn't matter who's here. It's been happening. It's going to continue to happen until something major changes. So I get it. But I think a squandered opportunity for the Giants for sure. All right. The next game on the docket, guys. The 2-1 Dallas Cowboys. Yes, you heard me right. 2-1. Go to MetLife Stadium, and they beat the Jets, who are taking over as one of the worst teams in the league. They are, instead of being undefeated, they are defeated. They have no wins and 5 losses. So they have a reverse undefeated. They're defeated. I feel like, for me, a lot of Dallas Cowboy chest pumping and trash talking, especially to Eagles fans and Giants fans, when you beat the Jets. They're still an NFL franchise. I get it. I'm not saying it's not, but they're not a very good one. They haven't been for a while. So, you know, if you're going to pump your chest when you beat the Jets, then when other people pump their chest when they beat the Jets and, you know, the lower tier teams, then you can't then be like, oh, you only beat the Jets. Because remember, you were doing it first. You look really good against the Jets, but again, a team in flux, a team that has a lot of issues. You got Aaron having been there before. Now they have Justin Fields. Fields actually has been playing well, but number one, 22 points, if you're going to be a defensive-based team, should be enough for you to win most games. Not when you give up 37 points. So a lot of things going on, but I think Fields actually is looking like he should be an NFL starting quarterback. And that's a positive, because if you're the Jets, at least if you got the quarterback situated and some of the other pieces, then you go work on the offensive line, you work on the defense, and you could become a better team. But if you don't have a quarterback, doesn't matter if you have everything else. And one team for sure can tell you that, and that's the Indianapolis Colts. You have everything, but you don't have a quarterback, you still trash. We'll go with Couch Coach, and then we'll end it off with Scrub. Y'all's thoughts?
I mean, it was a good game. Obviously, you know, I mean, it was the Jets, but I mean, you look at that offense, they were clicking, and you know, it is what it is. great win. You know, we may not say that for the rest of the year, hopefully. But I mean, good win. GP did his thing, and you know, we'll see them in 2 weeks. So good luck.
Did he say it may not happen again this season?
We hoping. We hoping.
I am completely for it, sir. I am completely for it. I support it.
We got to.
I support it.
Man, I want to say shout out to the teams No Life Stadium. Yes, I said exactly like that. No Life Stadium. Because these teams they both sorry, man. The Justin Fields would be doing better if some of this play calling was better. Because honestly, I'm like, oh, y'all not helping him out enough. He's having to bail y'all out. And he can't do it because a lot of this team's got issues. The defense, I knew they wouldn't be as good as years past. I didn't think it would be this bad, though. I ain't gonna lie. I just didn't think it would be this bad.
So I think we can all agree it wasn't the coach's fault.
Oh, the last coach? Oh, yes, it was. Oh, you talking about Eric Glenn? Nah, Eric Glenn's stuck with it.
No. I'm talking about my man that
McCarthy
Saleh?
was a scapegoat.
Oh, Saleh?
Saleh? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe
he was a bad head coach. That still ain't changed.
He had a defense playing better than his play since he left with the same dudes.
But he's a good defensive coordinator. But you can be a good defensive coordinator, not a good head coach.
He's a trash head coach.
Yeah, but but the Cowboys did what they were supposed to. I mean, you know, you exploded for 40 against the Packers, and then you go against the bad defense. They got 37 more, which they did what they're supposed to do. I give them credit for that. I won't take that away. Dak's playing well. You got Javonte Williams running the ball. But the question is, how are they going to do against a better defense? The team, I think the Packers let some of that get away from them more than Dak made some plays, but I think that was more of the Packers letting that game get away in a way they shouldn't let it. They shouldn't have let it. But we'll see. I mean, I think the Cowboys.
Uh-oh.
No.
Scrub went to the metaverse.
He's
back. Go ahead, Scrub. Go ahead.
Dang, they trying to get me. Yeah. No, CeeDee Lamb is not a number one. He's never been a number one. Without him, the offense does flow a lot better.
No one can argue that. No one can argue that.
Like, I know all these people are like, he's a number one. Like, no, you're not. If you actually watch the games, you can tell they are a much better offense than
and
without.
This is gonna keep the crash out king chilling for a few more weeks because he's gonna get most of the targets.
Yeah, that is true. But we'll see how they handle some of the better teams that got better offenses. But solid win. But it's against the Jets, so there's only so much I'm gonna take out of it.
I feel on that too. But if you're Dallas fans, man, I mean, you just won a Super Bowl. All right, the next one's gonna hurt. 3-2 Denver Broncos go to Lincoln Financial Field, where they haven't won since 1996. And they proceed to do what, honestly, a couple other teams could have done, and that's beat the Eagles and drop us to 4-1. I think the thing up until now has been, they might not play the best, but we won. It's always, but we won. Well, we played like garbage again for half the game. Decided to have a decent first and third quarter and forget how to play football in the second and fourth. And guess what? Can't say we still won the game because we did not win the game. For me, Denver did exactly what they're supposed to do. You kept giving them opportunities. You kept the defense. You kept your defense on the field because the offense was not doing anything. And at the end, really, the end of the third and the fourth. right? So tired down the Eagles defense. Guys were tired. When you get tired, you can be beat. They got beat. Sound game plan. We made mistakes ourselves. AJ Brown, he did run through a ball that probably would have been a touchdown. But he couldn't. He said he couldn't see it. So if you can't see it, you probably wouldn't have caught it either way, unless it just happened to fall into your hands. Jahan Dotson's got a 35-yard catch on the sideline, and my man can't keep his feet in bounds. You know what I'm saying? It's just that kind of stuff where you just be like, bro, why? But, sooner or later, you can't dance on losing and then not lose. We dance too much dancing. So it is what it is. Shout out to Denver. They did what they needed to do. They got big plays from the guys. Cortland Sutton, as I feared, I kept him in my lineup, and he got me good points in fantasy. They were able to move him around. And then once Quinyon kind of wore down, because he ain't got no backup worth nothing they're talking about. So once he wore down from having to play so many snaps and, we're a little thin, some injuries, and this is not mistakes. These are called things that the other team capitalizes on. I'm not going to sit here and say, the Eagles lost because of injuries. No, the Eagles lost because execution was poor. The Eagles lost because, especially significantly offensively, it was poor. And then the last play in the end zone, unfortunately, AJ and Devontae was almost fighting for the ball. AJ's actually, I guess didn't realize it was Devontae and knocked the ball away. And, that sealed everything for Philly. But at the end of the day, man, you keep dancing with the devil sooner or later, or he going to get you. And we got. Scrub, any thoughts?
How y'all got Bo, Nick? How y'all got Bo, dog? I'm sorry. Because, I was shameless boy. I did my live stream on Sunday on my channel, Scrub Zero. And we got Bo, my guy's Eagles fan, and we was like, yo, how you got Bo, dog? It was like, well, to your point, like, y'all didn't execute like you said. 2 of 11 on third down. You're not winning a lot of games going 2 for 11 on third.
No, you don't.
You can't let them have 70 your place to your 55. That don't work either. Because to your point, that defense out there too long, and 18 fourth quarter points. That means they got a 2-point conversion on top of that.
And that was the trashiest defense. Bruh, Keely Ringo run like he got cement blocks on his feet. And Dory Jackson run like he got cement blocks, but at least he got techniques. Keely Ringo ain't got technique, and he got cement blocks on his feet. This was that dude was wide open across for that. Like wide the fudge open. One of us could have caught that pass, bro.
That part.
Cool. There was something I did want to ask you because it's reminding me of past years when Sirianni was calling plays, or at least had more of his hand in the offense, and things just not going the way it's supposed to. Has it been? Have we kind of reverted back to that?
So I don't feel like it's Sirianni calling plays, but I feel like we've got a guy calling plays that has never called plays before.
Okay.
Every year we have a new OC.
Right.
So it's always that process of that OC filling out a team and understanding things and understanding how to utilize all the weapons. Even last year with a veteran OC, it took 4 weeks and about to kind of get things together to have an identity. The problem is we don't have an identity. We come out 1 week, we try to run the ball. Run doesn't work, we throw the ball sometimes. Sometimes the run doesn't work, we don't care, we keep running the ball. Sometimes we run up the middle 8, 9, 10 times in a row. Sometimes we actually do creative plays outside. And then our OC says if the play works, even if it works, if we don't feel like it's the right situation for it, he won't run it again. But that's learning.
Okay.
It's a learning curve, and it could be a little bit of somebody coming from the Sirianni school of understanding, which definitely be bad.
Because I'm like, it's something about it just give the sense like it's like years past. Like I know that it have been growing pains, like even last year, but you like I've seen enough of the Eagles under Nick Sirianni as the head coach that have an idea like his hand is in this a little too much to not know to not think otherwise.
Like I said, man, I don't even think it's him. I just think it's a guy that just has the same philosophy.
That means he got his hand in it too dang on much. Because if you got the same philosophy, that's not good.
And you elevated a guy from your staff that never called plays before. You know what I'm saying? That's been on the staff the entire time. So it's going to be some similarities because he's been on the staff the entire time.
Right.
Unfortunately for us Eagles fans.
Yeah, that's all I got on that.
I ain't mentioned no words. Couch coach.
Yeah, man. I'm still in shock. I mean, obviously, which guys? Obviously, I think with Broncos was 3-0, and then y'all went on what I call a 17-0 run, and then that fourth quarter. I mean, I'm shocked. Like I was shocked of the outcome of it. But I mean, it's just one of those where you gonna have those type of games, and I think this might be the best thing for the Eagles. Quiet as kept. Obviously, with the turmoil that's going on, now it can be addressed because winning is, like we always say, winning is the best deodorant. It covers up a lot of funk, and sometimes there's some funk going on with this Philadelphia Eagles team, and a loss can help that. So just bump in the road, and it is what it is.
That's a good point. All right, and then lastly, we have the Washington Commanders back-to-back weeks, along with the New York Football Giants last week, taking a chunk out of the previously undefeated Los Angeles Chargers, now are 3-2. Couch coach, talk to us.
Well, if you are under the age of 39, this is the first victory that you ever seen that the Washington Redskins / Commanders went to Southern California to get the dub. Obviously, to the date, what was it? September 21st, 1986, our first ever win against the Chargers on the road when they were the San Diego Superchargers. What a win. Obviously, the return of Jaden Daniels. Obviously, if you looked at it, the first quarter, it almost kind of was like a microcosm of kind of how the Atlanta game was. They jumped off to a 10-0 lead. You've seen a lot of plays. I know one Frankie Louvu tackle that he didn't wrap up, and I'm like, man, this is really Atlanta all over again. But in true San Diego, Los Angeles Charger, happens. Obviously, in the second quarter, that Quentin Johnston fumble helped the momentum that prompted the rookie of the week in Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, aka Bill. Did another play that made it down to made the deficit down to 7-10. But I think the key play in this game was when the Chargers were pretty much when we were punting to the Chargers and they had a punt return for a touchdown, but it got called back because they roughed my guy. The original number 5, Tress Way, and then that helped us get the ball back. And then obviously we marched down the field, got a field goal, made it tied 10-10. And then in the second half, we just dominated this game. The Chargers had a shot in the end zone, and the Michigan man, Mike Sandstrom, makes that play. And we marched down the field, and then we put the cherry on top on a 99-yard drive. I think we haven't had a 99-yard drive since like 2020. It's been a while since we had a 99-yard touchdown drive and put the backbreaker to win this game. And man, we needed that win because that's one thing. That's a season-changing type of win for this team because they could have failed to 2-3, and so. Great win. If you are under the age of 39, you've seen history.
Fair enough. I'm gonna just say, good game, Washington. You did what you're supposed to do. You had the opportunity to go out and whoop them tricks, and you whooped them.
That part.
New York gave you the game plan. You followed it to perfection. Big ups to Jaden Daniels in his return. Thank you for helping my fantasy team, the league where I have Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. Both, of course, hemmed up. So I needed Jaden Daniels to do what he did for me this past week, and I need him to do it again this week, even if Lamar Jackson plays, because my other quarterback in this 2-quarterback league is not very good. I'll say that. But, hey, you won. You did what you're supposed to do. Too bad everybody else in the division didn't do that. I'm looking in the mirror. Not taking a shot at Scrub. I'm looking in the mirror. All right, Scrub, any thoughts?
Man, you better than me. I'll take a shot at everyone. First team, I'll take a shot at the Giants. Good day go. I will take. Even when they win, I'll take a shot
at nobody else when I'm living in the glass house. I'm not throwing stones from the glass house. Now, if I was in the brick house, I might throw a stone, but I'm in the glass house this week, so I ain't throwing no stones from the glass house.
Man, I'll throw it I'll throw it at my own glass house, and I'll throw it at all the other glass houses. But that's not here today.
Yes, you will.
The wall charges are exactly what I expected they were. They're fraudulent. I mean, you had a chance to. Those two plays, the fumble and the roughing the punter. You're talking about at least a 10-point swing. The 10 points that ultimately went to the Commanders to tie the game at halftime. And that and what happens after, difference-making plays like that, because you're taking points off the board. It's not just the fact that you gave up the possession. You won deep in enemy territory, taking points off the board. Punt return for a touchdown, nullified by penalty. Points taken off the board. Even with all these rules to help the offense, points are too much of a premium to have those kind of mistakes. Washington did what they were supposed to. Jaden Daniels, he does a good job of managing the game. He does a great job of managing the game. They got your man JCM getting those runs and getting over 100 yards. That helps out. Listen, I'm not surprised with Washington. They did what they're supposed to. This is a good win for them. But to the Chargers, this is why I always had my head scratching. Why is everyone writing off the Chiefs? The Chargers, they said Chargers and the Broncos. I'm like, bro, we know the Chargers are fool's gold, and the Broncos got Bo Nix, and we know, there's no reason to have full trust in him because we've seen good, but we also seen bad. So I can't take the Chargers seriously. I never could, and until proven otherwise, I'm not going to. But good job, Commanders. Did better than everyone else in the division.
Thank you.
That dude said thank you. That daggone couch coach, boy, I tell you what. I tell you what. All right, guys, we're going to run through this power rankings. We'll take a minute when we get to our division teams, and then, we'll stop by every 10 teams in case y'all want to give any thoughts here. All right, so New Orleans Saints still at the bottom, even though they beat the Giants. They still have them as the last ranked power ranked team in the NFL. It's crazy. They only got a 3% chance of making the playoffs. Right above them at 31, Tennessee Titans. They only have a 4% chance of making the playoffs. I don't think there's anything we talk about those two. We know why they're there. It's very clear. Number 30, Cleveland Browns. They're down the spot. Dylan Gabriel is their new quarterback. and they have a 7% chance of making playoffs. And that's all I got to say about that. At 29, we have the New York Jets. They actually moved up a space. They have a 3% chance of making the playoffs, and this is all according to Pro Football Focus. They have a 3% chance of making the playoffs, even though they ain't beat nobody. At 28, down 2 spots for losing to the worst team in the NFL, the New York Giants. They have a 1% chance of making the playoffs. They're down 2 spots. It's all good. I mean, it is what it is. At 27th, up 1 spot, the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's see if and when I say flaccid Flacco, I mean his arm is flaccid at this point in his career because he's been around too long. But flaccid Flacco, let's see if he can make a difference behind this terrible line. This line reminds you that if you don't have Burrow, you might be in what they say, trouble.
Man, they was in trouble even with Burrow. So without him, man,
Right.
Yeah. That's why I say not just trouble. Trouble. All right, 26 down the spot. Oh, the 26 down the spot. The Carolina Panthers. I mean, they lost to the Carolina Panthers. The Miami Dolphins, excuse me, they lost to the Carolina Panthers. I just so used to seeing Carolina Panthers this year. My fault, y'all. The Miami Dolphins, they have a 9% chance of making the playoffs. The Cincinnati Bengals have a 16% chance, according to Pro Football Focus. So they're really believing the return of Joe Burrow some point this season must be. Miami lost to the Panthers. I mean, what else we need to say? At number 25, the Baltimore Ravens, they're down a spot. Their chance of making the playoffs is still 22%. I mean, they don't have Lamar Jackson, and everything is looking very ugly for them. That's really all that needs to be said. Las Vegas Raiders, crazy that they're above the Ravens, but they're down a spot. They have an 8% chance of making the playoffs. Geno Smith decided to write home and send it overnight. And Pete Carroll looks like he's washed up as a coach. At 23, up 4 spots after their big win against the Miami Dolphins, who definitely bottom 5, if not bottom 3 team in the NFL. The Carolina Panthers, they now have a 15% chance of making the playoffs, which is, for them, I would say sensational. Arizona Cardinals at 22, down 2 spots, 10% chance to make the playoffs. Cardinals are who we thought they were. Nobody's letting them off the hook. At number 21, New England Patriots, staying in the same spot. They have a 62% chance to make the playoffs. They actually have a 2% chance to make the Super Bowl. They're the first team on this list that has more than a 1% chance of making the Super Bowl. So that's interesting. This is all Pro Football Focus. This ain't me, so don't be all cool, blah, 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 blah. This is Pro Football Focus. Well, holla at them. Any thoughts on those teams, gentlemen?
Yeah, the Cardinals they choked away a game to the Titans, which was hilarious, and I will never let them live that down. And the Dolphins got tuna fish, and they're done. Beyond that, Cleveland, we just waiting to see when Shedeur gets in the lineup because Dylan Gabriel ain't that good, and they traded Flacco, who wasn't very good either. Last thing I got to say, Ravens have the worst defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
Bar none.
At this point, yeah. At this point, it's super ugly for those fellas. Anything, house coach?
Yeah, man. Like I said, Arizona. I know one thing. Jonathan Gannon, he wouldn't hit Brandon Graham. Now I know that's for a fact. I guarantee that was not gonna happen. So yeah,
Brandon Graham would have hit him with a sure you can.
Guess what? We'd have been like, in other news, the Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator is no longer.
In other news, Brandon Graham is being
arrested.
He's been arrested and is being charged and arraigned on charges of physical violence.
Right.
And assault. Aggravated assault.
And no one could blame him because the defensive coordinator, the former defensive coordinator, he was sorry.
Yeah. He would have been sent to a level 1 trauma unit center if he would have hit Brandon Graham. Let's put it that way. Put it lightly.
I like that.
It's a family show.
I like that. I like that. All right. So let's go this next 10 here. Number 20 up 2 spots. We've got the Dallas Cowboys, 17% chance to make the playoffs. Number 19, staying put, the Chicago Bears. They have a 21% chance to make the playoffs. Now, all these teams have a 1 or less than 1% chance to make the Super Bowl. That's why I'm not even talking about that. We're only going to talk about it if it's over 1%. All right, Atlanta Falcons at number 18, no change. A 39% chance to make the playoffs. 17, Pittsburgh Steelers dropped 2 spots. They have a 78% chance of making the playoffs, and they have a 4% chance of making the Super Bowl. So that's a little interesting. San Francisco 49ers at 16, they're down 8 spots. They have a 75% chance to make the playoffs and a 3% chance to make the Super Bowl. At 15, the Indianapolis Colts have moved up a spot. They have a 72% chance of making the playoffs and a 4% chance of making the Super Bowl with Daniel freaking Jones. And I told people before the season started, Indiana Jones was going to be solid and good in this offense, and they had a defense and everything else around them. People was looking at me like I was crazy. I don't understand that sometimes cool know what you're talking about. They also have a 4% chance of making the Super Bowl. All right, at 14, down 1 spot, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just cannot call them Jaguars. They look like Jaguars to me. Chance of making the playoffs, 78%, and they have a 4% chance of making the Super Bowl. They did beat the Chiefs, so you always get some props when you beat the Chiefs. And number 13, down 1 spot, the Seattle Seahawks. Oh, Jacksonville does have a 4% chance to make the Super Bowl as well, if I didn't mention that. Seahawks are down 1 spot at 13. They have a 41% chance of making the playoffs and a 2% chance of making the Super Bowl. So it's getting interesting. Nobody's at a really high percentage now, right, for making the Super Bowl, but somebody's got to be. So let's see where it starts at. At number 12, up 3 spots, the Minnesota Vikings, 37% chance to make the playoffs, 2% chance of making the Super Bowl. At number 11, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are down 1 spot. They have an 81% chance of making the playoffs and a 4% chance of making the Super Bowl. Any thoughts on those teams, gentlemen?
Let's see. Cowboys, they're all right. Bears, Falcons, Steelers, I don't trust the quarterback. And they're playing, and right now the rest of their division is down, so that's why they're in a good spot. Niners, I will say, they played better with Mac Jones so far than Brock Purdy. That's just my opinion. I don't know that. I think he's done a better job this season so far. We'll see how that ends up. Colts, let me know when they actually play a team that can actually hang. That's not sorry like the Raiders, because they're gonna bully those weak teams. But when they actually got to play the team's worth something on their schedule, we'll see how they hold up. I know the team. I'm more so talking about the quarterback. I have more faith in the rest of the team around him, but we'll see. Jags. Hey, shout out to the Jags. Shout out to Eli Manning 2.5. For those who don't know, that's what I call Trevor Lawrence, because he really be looking like Eli Manning sometimes, man. And just because he a newer model don't mean he a better model. But he did pull out the win against the Chiefs.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Seahawks, I don't trust Sam Darnold. He threw the pick late. So that's the Sam Darnold I know. Vikings, they gotta fix it. They gotta find who gonna be quarterback, because Carson Wentz ain't it. And the Bucks, like offensively, they're doing great. I like Ibuka, but their defense, man, oh dear goodness, their defense is an atrocity.
That was coach.
I'm shocked at some of these teams at where they are. Like as far as I figure the Jaguars gonna be a little bit higher. Obviously, I think with the win over Kansas City, even though Kansas City is 2-3, they had some good wins so far this season. The Colts, like you said, I do understand like the whole Colts situation because hey, they really haven't played anybody, but they have played some great football. They have played to their schedule, so it's kind of one of the things where I definitely thought they were going to be a little higher, but those are only kind of two that kind of stood out to me as far as the top. Before we get to the top 10, I definitely thought these teams would be kind of top 10 potential teams. As we look into the top 10, you're like, okay, yeah, that's what we're going to fight.
Fair enough. All right, at number 10, we have the Los Angeles not Superchargers. 66% chance of making the playoffs, 4% chance of making the Super Bowl, and they're down 3 spots. At number 9, up 8 spots, so the reverse of previous team, the Houston Texans. They have a 48% chance of making the playoffs and a 3% chance of making the Super Bowl. At number 8, up 3 spots, the Denver Broncos, 64% chance of making the playoffs, 5% chance of making the Super Bowl. So now we're getting a little bit higher on these percentages. At number 7, a team that coach knows very well, the Washington Commanders, up 2 spots, 55% chance of making the playoffs and a 4% chance of making the Super Bowl. It's amazing the difference that Jaden Daniels makes. At number 6, staying steady, the Los Angeles Rams, 65% chance of making the playoffs and a 5% chance of making the Super Bowl. The one thing I like about their rankings is they just say making, they don't say win. So I like that. Number 5, the Green Bay Packers, holding steady, 77% chance to make the playoffs and a 7% chance of making the Super Bowl. At number 4, down 1 spot, the Kansas City Chiefs. Chance of making the playoffs, 69%. 9% chance of making the Super Bowl. So, percentage is getting a little bit higher, but yeah, I think they're going to slide up here soon. All right, number 3, down 1 spot. The Philadelphia Eagles. Chances of making the playoffs, 84%. Chances of making the Super Bowl, the same as the team they played last year in the Super Bowl, the Kansas City Chiefs, 9%. All right, and number 2, up 3 spots, the Detroit Lions. They have a 79% chance of making the playoffs and a 9% chance of winning the Super Bowl. So it's funny that they're ranked over the Eagles, even though the Eagles have a higher chance of making playoffs. Just something to look at. And they have the same chance of making a Super Bowl. And then the team that America adores, and I know the NFL is giddy, and it is definitely Josh Giddy. The Buffalo Bills, 95% chance of making the playoffs and the highest chance of making the Super Bowl. The only person over 10% is 16%. Your Buffalo Bills. So in that top 10, we had Philly at 3, and then we had the Commanders at 7. So we got 2 teams that seem to be hovering around that top, 7, top 5-ish. So we're going to see how those teams continue to perform. If the Giants and the Cowboys can, turn things around long term and see if they can slide up and make some moves themselves in the power rankings. Any thoughts on the top 10, guys, before we get into the last part of the show?
This is one thing I know of. This is why I don't like Pro Football Focus, because they rely on analytics a lot. Walter shouldn't be up. Washington shouldn't be up here. They ain't. That's ridiculous. Texans had a huge jump, which I don't understand. I mean, they did have a good game finally, but to jump up all the way to top 10, nah, that's crazy. Now, maybe they right the ship, but I'm not going to be a prisoner of the moment off of 1 week against the worst defense in the league. Broncos, we already talked about Broncos and Mo Knicks. They got a good team. I don't have a lot of faith in the Knicks, but we'll see. Washington, we know Jaden Daniels makes a difference. I just think the team is average. And I think that's going to ultimately be their undoing, but they belong up here. The Abs, I'm surprised they didn't go down. Not because I think they should be way down, but that was a tough loss they had. And right now it's showing that the Niners kind of have control of things in their division. Packers, they had to bye, so they still got some things to figure out. Whether Jordan Love got to stop going for the home run play and just check down some more. Kansas City, we know they still love them. So Kansas City, Kansas City, I think they'll still win their division, but they need some help on both sides. Then the Eagles, we know we went over them. I gotta say too much on them. They just gotta figure out what their identity is. They could also you could always try to get a pass rusher in the trade market, but we'll see how that goes. The Lions, I mean, they're starting to pick things up now. They're kind of looking how they did last season, so no surprise there. And then the most overrated team in the league in the Buffalo Bills. After you done lost to Drake May, a quarterback I ain't got much use for.
Drake.
And honestly, the Bills are in trouble, dog. Because the Patriots ain't going to go away. And if they couldn't beat the Patriots at home, they got to go to Foxborough. Listen, let me know when the Bills get to the Super Bowl. Until then, I look at them like the Chargers. Fool's gold.
Coach.
Yeah, all power rankings aren't created equal. I do power rankings every week. In the Wednesdays, couchcoachlive.com. We're here. But anyway, shameless plug. Buffalo Bills at number one after they lost. We can't do that. I think Detroit should be there because obviously 4 straight wins. The only loss they had was against Green Bay in week 1. So they've been rolling ever since. Like you said, Kansas City is 2-3. Who in any power ranking, a 2-3 team is a top 5 power rankings in the NFL. That does make zero sense. They're 2-3. You would think they're like undefeated where they're at. They're 2-3.
I could have justified it if they were 3-2 in the one Monday night's game because it would have been like, all right, they're trending up. Right.
But you're under 500. And so that to me that makes zero sense. Like you said, Green Bay should be no change because a value shouldn't be disqualified. You should be graded. You should stay where you're at prior to the bye week. The Rams, like you said, lost to the San Francisco 49ers. That's interesting game last Thursday. I think Washington a little bit too high because obviously I think just the what I call the prisoner of the moment kind of where they had, hey, you got a good win in the West Coast. I'm kind of like put them in the top 10 after a few wins. Obviously, if they can take care of business on Monday, heading into the Dallas week next week, yeah, you kind of 2 solid consecutive wins. I'm cool with that. Denver, it is what it is. But Houston, they got 2 solid wins, but it was against Indianapolis. They blanked them, and then they beat the Ravens, which anybody can beat the Ravens at this point because of just everything that's going on, and obviously with the Ravens with so much injuries on the defense, and then now they're relying with a NFC Beast quasi legend in Cooper Rush. So
Don't do that, college.
Hey, we got. Hey, this is
quasi legend.
No, you. Nah, because they was trying to use Cooper Rush to get Dak out the paint. We saw how well that worked or didn't work.
Right, but you know how they loved them Cooper Rush, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
But I just I always like take a little dig on Cooper Rush. But yeah, like you said, it's everything else made sense until like the top 10. Because I kept on saying like it's a lot of teams that I had in that 10 to 20 range as top 10 teams. And I'm like, so it's interesting, like you said, it's really analytic heavy, and I hate when people rely, not us, but just in general. I say people like, I remember somebody's like arguing me up and down about a PFF grade. I'm like, you know what? I don't care about a PFF grade. That's just for stat geeks and whatever. Like, I see what I see. It is what it is. I'm not trying to get too analytical with it, and it's just like, yeah, he's 5 for 8 on Z routes. Whoop-de-doo. Who cares? We do not care.
Much left to say after that. There you go. So we're gonna move on and we're gonna get to the picks. Now, y'all know Thursday night football will not have happened when we record. It will be about to happen. So we are going to be picking that as well. All right. Thursday night football. 8:15 p.m. Prime Video. Philadelphia Eagles at 401 at the most dangerous stadium to play, MetLife, to play the 1-4 Giants. You can look at me. You should be able to tell who I'm going with, but just in case you need me to say it, Philadelphia Eagles. Scrub, who you got?
Don't trust Little Blue. Prime time, Thursday night game, and against the Eagles, after coming off a loss, I got Philly easy.
I hope you're right. Couch coach, who you got?
Well, I'm going to play a little reverse psychology. If you have watched this show throughout this year, I picked against a certain team, but guess what? I'm going to pick them to win this week, so I won't be at the lone wolf this week. So give me the Eagles.
You're a terrible couch.
Little reverse psychology. Why not?
1 p.m. Eastern, here in Charlotte, Bank of America Stadium. The 2-1 Dallas Cowboys come to town to play the 2-3 Carolina Panthers. Got them a win, feeling good about themselves. And you know what? I have to go with the Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to beat the Cowboys. It's going to be a shot, but I think Rico Dowdle has another 125, 150 game. He's motivated. The team has been hearing a lot of disrespect from their own fan base and everybody else, and I just think it's going to be a week where they say, you know what, we ain't playing no games. We came to play. There's a price to pay, and the price is going to be paid by the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm going to go Panthers. Couch coach, who you got?
Obviously, I got to look ahead. I don't want this team. I don't want to go into their house after a loss. So I'm going to get the Arlington football team a win, and Jerry going to flick somebody off in Charlotte. Run it up.
Screw up. Who do you have?
Who are you and what have you done with Cool? You pick it up. You pick it up.
Hometown. It's in the crib, in the backyard.
This ain't the Twilight Zone.
I think they're gonna upset them.
I think it's still gonna be the Cowboys. I mean, the Panthers. Yeah, they came back. They won. They did some good things, but I was against the Dolphins. And let's be honest, the only win the Dolphins had is against the Jets, because the Jets defense they got the second worst defense in the league. And they had to rob the Jets on a touchdown that ultimately got called back on the pass interference. But by letter of the law was pass interference, but we don't see that get called often. But that's not here nor there. I don't trust the Dolphins. Like, I'm not taking that win against the Dolphins to mean worth much.
I don't take the win over the Jets to mean much either. So
yeah, but I take the offense of what the Cowboys did against the Green Bay to mean a little more than that. And so as long as CD Lamb ain't in the lineup, I think they'll flow better. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I would like Panthers to win, but I ain't holding my breath on that. I wouldn't bet no money on it. I'll tell you that much.
I definitely would bet no money, but hey, free pick Bastrande Huevos. All right. Monday night, the second Monday night game. I don't understand why we keep having 2 Monday night games, but it is what it is. The 2-2 Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams, and his focus on other things besides playing football, against the 3-2 Washington Commanders in Landover, Maryland. I'm going to take the Commanders. They are at home. The Bears look good. They look bad. They look okay. The Commanders with Jaden Daniels, they look good. So that's what I'm going with. Scrub, who are you picking? We'll let Couch Coach finish it up.
This is like a toss-up. But I'm gonna go with the Bears. I think coming off the bye, I think they'll actually do some things. This one that like I said, I'm not gonna be surprised either way. It's kind of hard to gauge because the Bears kind of have been up and down, but they played some solid football in some moments. Commanders have played some solid football in some moments. If it comes to the quarterbacks, I got more faith in Daniels than Caleb Williams. If it comes to the rest of the team, though, I got more faith in the Bears than I do the Commanders, and I think that's ultimately what it's going to come down to.
Okay. Couch Coach?
This game scares me. I will be completely honest with you because it's almost eerily similar to the matchup last year. Chicago was coming off a bye. They had a great win in London. And fast forward this year, they had, to me, a great win against the Raiders, which, I mean, hey, it is what it is. You still got the win, and you get the bye week. Wearing the black jerseys yet again. I think about, obviously, the Hail Mary. I think about the 2023 matchup when DJ Moore looked like Jerry Rice on a Thursday night. But I got the Commanders. I think the place is going to be rocking. It's going to be a blackout, and it's just going to be it's something different now at Northwest at night. Northwest at the dark is going to be a very scary place for opponents. And give me the Commanders.
I like how Couch Coach kind of breaks it down and give you like a little bit of everything, throw some other outside things in there. The specific brand of Couch Coach, and him giving you, his thoughts in the game. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Just, it's different. I like different. So,
listen, after Monday night, we're gonna be showing off them nails. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, man.
Wow, I will not be showing off them nails. But hey, if that's your thing, bro, do you? Do you? Do you? But I'm excited about this week. It's fun. Commanders should be a good game with the Bears. I think the Bears will make it competitive. Eagles and Giants, and we always want Dallas to lose. I actually think, though, for real, not just because I want them to lose. I think they're gonna lose. Have I been wrong before? I have a gut feeling it could just be indigestion. You never know. But we're gonna roll with it. So shout out to our hosts who weren't able to be on tonight. Shout out to my man Scrub, my guy Couch Coach, for sitting in with your boy. Make sure y'all tapping in. Make sure y'all going to all the channels. Make sure y'all following us. And make sure that y'all are back here next week for another episode. NFC Beast. the best division in football. You thought you were going to go without hearing it. You weren't. Never forget, there is only one division that all 4 teams have won. Not one, but 2 Super Bowls. The rest of y'all ain't even all won one. So until you can match or surpass us, stay beneath us where you are. It's all about the East. We the Beast. That being said, we out. We will see you next week. Best division of football. New hashtag.